but I want to pull out some of the lessons around just like basic organizing. Like, what are the lessons that you're learning about what it really takes to fight back against and have these big victories against big platforms like the Baristas Worker Justice Project? We just did a big one, right? Shutting down the Airbnb situation, that was a big win. So maybe if you just want to say kind of like your biggest hindsight, what could we have done differently, and what do we need to do now to keep delivering both those protections, like how do we sustain that from attacks, and also how do we go to the next level? Maybe we could start with you.
Okay.
Microphone, I can hear.
Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, so I think a lot of our success of our organizing really happened during the pandemic. Just like, I think that was the first time when I think deliveristas were seen as people that actually existed. Because I think before the pandemic, we all ordered our meals, like takeout was like a New Yorker tradition, right? But we never got to think as who's the person that delivered my meals, or is that person treated with dignity? Like that wasn't a thing. And I think during the pandemic, there was a huge momentum because these were the only people in the streets, pretty much. And that we used that, I think, momentum to capture and really bring attention to a workforce that needed it desperately protections, because now some of them, when they were working in the restaurants, at least they had labor protections, but now that they're working for this industry, they have none. And we captured that momentum that they had as heroes to make sure that New York was delivering some protections, and I think that set sort of, I think the whole idea that I think for New York City to need to regulate and understand how predatory these companies are. And also the incredible organizing. I think all of you will say we can't organize without organized people. And I think part of our success has been making sure that workers are in front leading their own campaigns, are speaking about the issues. I think what's very successful, especially is that when workers are in front speaking and sharing their stories, really combats back the corporate narrative that these companies are building, not just because they have really good PR and they're paying millions in PR, but also they own the data. So they can literally pull out the data and say, that's not true, right? Like the numbers are saying completely a different story. And I think what we did is first industry report, but also like back up with like real human life experiences and his stories. And then also like caught them by surprise when we started organizing. They didn't think they really undermined our organizing until we win. And I think the biggest challenge is now that they know that there's a lot of organizing and there is a really progressive city council. And I think they're fighting back by trying to buy some campaigns to make sure that they put people that they know they're going to protect their interests. I think the big challenge has been PR. Still, they pull really strong communication. In ours, I think the big challenge was that we are still a mighty tiny organization. We can't communicate as fast as they can with workers. So on a click, they can literally say minimum pay is going to destroy your job, and that was the narrative that they were using. They divide workers. They even managed to contract some of our leaders and turn them behind the campaign. And their narrative is always divisive, right? Like they want to divide the people. And in our industry, they always are looking to divide workers, but they're always trying to divide consumers as well, saying like, oh, your meal is going to be more expensive. You got to pay more. And they're doing the exact same thing with the restaurants, right? What they don't tell you is that they're pocketing money, first of all, for consumers, because I don't know if you have read every time you order all those fees, they don't even put literally like real what those fees are, but those are fees that they can literally charge you. There's not even consumer protections against these apps. That's like the next fight. And then the other one is they recently won a legislation that increased the fees of the restaurants. So they're making money from the restaurants, from the consumers, while underpaying workers. So they're making millions of dollars, so they have the money to pull really good PR and buy lobbyists. And I think that's the biggest challenge because we have a worker organizing power, but we don't have the resources often to fight back that PR and lobby.
What I'm hearing from you is we need a well-funded,
Yes.
potentially year-round megaphone that no one's gonna afford. I don't know who's gonna fund that, but I definitely think we need that to combat all this terrible narrative that they're able to do instantaneously. Esteban, you wanna talk a little bit about lessons learned from organizing?